Welcome to another episode of Palm Harbor Local. I'm your host, Florida native and real estate ninja, Donnie Hathaway. You know, I started this podcast because I'm extremely passionate about connecting you with the people and the local businesses that make Palm Harbor so special. Palm Harbor, Florida is a great place to live, work, and play. It has everything you could dream of, from the food, the outdoors, the lifestyle, to the people in the community. I wanted to create a podcast that connected the community and inspired everyone to live better. To join this community and stay up to date on all things Palm Harbor, visit my website, it's palmharborlocal.com, and sign up there to join the locals. And remember, together, we keep Palm Harbor local. So Ben Nichols is on the podcast today. He is the owner of Devine Brewing Company, right there in downtown Palm Harbor, right at the Pinellas Trail. You've probably seen it. You probably biked by it, walked by it, driven by it. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to chat with you. I've been a big fan of Devine for quite some time, probably since you guys opened. But let's start there, like when you opened and just kind of walk me through that process of like starting a brewery.
Started an idea, I think like 2015 was
Okay.
when, we thought of the idea and the concept. It was actually me and one of my best friends, childhood friend. He was in hospitality forever, and I always wanted to get into something like that. Can't even call myself like a home brewer really, because I wasn't really any good at making beer.
So you never made beer before?
I did, but
You
never
did,
commercially.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And the beers that I did make at home,
Weren't that good?
no, they weren't very good, But so I came up with the idea. Him and I realized quickly that we needed to get a team around us that knew like distribution and
Okay.
brewing commercially and stuff like that. So I was pretty much a real estate guy. Vincent was doing the tap room and like office stuff, and then we hired a couple other guys to help us get it going. But I think I bought the building in 2015. Took about a year and a half to remodel it because I did a lot of the stuff myself and building the team up and getting game plans and stuff like that. And then opened 2016, March 2016. So we're going on 7 years
Okay.
that we've been open this year.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
So why did you want to open a brewery with no experience?
Yeah, that was the cool thing. Joey Redner, he sold Cigar City for, $500 million or whatever it was. So it's like that thing, everybody thought that they could open a brewery and get rich quick.
Yeah.
Not the case.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
There is no get rich quick thing.
I don't think there really is a get rich quick, no. But just started it with a team and just kind of gone from there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you, so prior to opening the brewery, like what did you do before that?
Real estate.
Real estate.
Yeah.
Okay. So investing in real estate. Yeah. And so you had residential properties around the area. What is, like, did you ever picture yourself being a business owner?
Yeah, I think so. From an early age, I realized that I want to be an entrepreneur and work for myself and make my own way and, not work for the man.
Yeah.
2010, 2011, I think, is whenever I started my investment company, LLC, and got a loan, started buying up real estate properties.
Okay.
Market crashed. Everybody was losing their houses and foreclosures and short sales. And
Yeah. And you're like, this is a good time to buy.
this is a perfect time to buy. So that's what I did. Like example, I bought 7 condos over in Tampa for like an average like 20 grand. Sold them 6 years later for 190.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So kind of went from there and did it like that.
Yeah. Why real estate? Like where did you get like the motivation or drive to say like, I want to invest in real estate?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I think I just realized the market was crashing, reading articles and seeing what you could get, and had a real estate friend that was telling me about all these foreclosures and how cheap you can get these houses at auctions and stuff like that. So light bulb just kind of went off. I thought, well, real estate's always been a good investment, a good asset. So that's kind of ran with it.
Okay.
Got my whole family involved and everybody.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you like about the real estate, investing in real estate?
Multiple things. One, it's a cushion. You know that you have an investment. You know that it's over time it's going to build wealth. It might drop whatever. But it's just like the stock market, drops, goes up, drops, goes
Right.
up.
So if you can hang on to it long
You can
term.
hang on to it long term, you're good to go. And
Yeah.
that was always my plan, to pretty much just keep as much as I can, get that residual income coming in every month on rent, and pass it down for generations, really.
Yeah. So do you think, like investing in real estate, do you think that led you to like having the knowledge or whatever to kind of start this brewery and buy the property too, instead of, lease out?
Yeah, it definitely got me in an entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah.
Because I'd buy these houses and they needed a lot of work. Well, I just hired up some of my buddies and we legit did all the work ourselves. So it taught me how to run crews and how to run a team and really pinch pennies and make money instead of just wasting it and paying other people and stuff like that.
Yep. To be aware of kind of all those different pieces that go into that. So let's jump back into like the brewery and talk about like the idea behind that and kind of where this, what was your thought there of like building Divine, and like where does the name come from too? That's an interesting name.
So Divine, hops grow on a vine,
Okay.
grapes grow on a vine. So instead of divine.
Divine.
It's just like a play on words.
Nice.
Yeah, just of
Okay.
the vine,
Yeah.
And then as we were doing research, we realized the word vine meant like gatekeeper of the underworld and some
Okay.
Arcadian language or some craziness.
Yeah.
And that's where like this halo and devil's tail came from,
Okay.
on our logo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where Divine came from.
Yeah.
The name of it.
So what about the concept of the brewery, right? Because there's in our area, like Dunedin was a popular spot where like this is where all the breweries were. Palm Harbor's got a few of them now. Tampa's got a bunch, but each one is unique in their own way, has their unique style, unique flavor of beers and that sort of stuff. Like where did what was your idea there?
Try and stay ahead of the curve.
Okay.
Like beer styles and things like that.
Okay.
When we first opened, we were very overstaffed, underknowledged, and we just tried to get by the best that we could. And then we ended up finding new people, hiring new people that actually knew what they were doing and stuff like that, and really took us to the next level.
As far as like creating the beers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Creating the beers, technique, I mean, everything's brewing is, you're hanging out, you're drinking, you're making beer, it's fun. We're cleaning 85% of the time and you're brewing 15. So it's not like a glorious job by any means.
Yeah.
For me, it is. I'm quality control, so I just get to hang out and drink it. But,
Yeah.
But
somebody else is cleaning it.
Yeah, somebody else is doing it. But taking pride in changing our water profiles, is like a big one. Like a lot of people have bad water.
Yeah.
So we got the RO system, and now we mock water profiles, whatever style beer it is. So if it's a Mexican lager, we find out where like our favorite Mexican beer is, find out what their water profile is, and mimic that water profile.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
German beer, yeah. So it's like, well, your main ingredient in beer is water.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like that's where you start off with, and that's one of the things that we really take pride in. And
yeah. So that reminds me of we went to Ireland a couple years ago. And went to the Guinness factory, right? And they take you on this tour or whatever. And one of the things they talk about is like the water from with the river or whatever it is right there, right? And like that being like one of the big, differences in the beer that's made in Guinness that's made in Ireland versus maybe the Guinness beer that you get in the United States, right? Like maybe there's a little bit different flavor. And yeah, it's crazy how important the water is to the flavor of it.
Oh, it is. I mean, whenever we did the RO system, I mean, our beers completely changed. I mean, cleaner, crisper. There's no aftertaste. I mean, it's just like a very clean, crisp beer.
And so you can change the water. Like, what's the profile of the water that you're changing? Like, what are you changing in the water that?
Well, we have an RO system. We strip everything out of it. So then we got to add.
Okay.
I mean, calcium. I mean, just a whole bunch, whatever is in salts or just
Crazy.
Depending on what that water profile is. Yeah. And you get bags of gypsum, you're dumping it in the water,
Yeah.
like it's wild.
Yeah. So you're like making water and then you're making beer.
Correct.
That's cool.
It is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Where did that idea come from? Like the idea is that just like trying to be different, trying to think ahead of the curve, like you said?
Well, yeah, we hired a consultant to come in and work with us brewing wise. And the dude was very knowledgeable, and he pretty much told us, like, if you want to get to the next level, you have to strip your water and start from scratch.
Okay.
And it changed.
Yeah, crazy. So you noticed a difference in the flavor.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's wild.
What are some of your favorite beers? What's up, Palm Harbor? It's your host, Donnie Hathaway. If you are looking to stay up to date with all things Palm Harbor, then visit my website. It's palmharborlocal.com. Super simple. You can sign up there, join the locals, where I'll be sharing more information on local events, local history, and what's happening in Palm Harbor. You know, I really want to create and add more value to you as a listener for spending your valuable time tuning into my podcast. So join me there, keep listening, and remember, together, we keep Palm Harbor local.
Styles?
Yeah.
Sours for sure.
Sours.
Yeah, I love sours. A good kettle sour is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the wild yeast strains, bacteria strains because they get like real funky and skunky and stuff like that, which I don't like. I just like a good salty sour kettle sour. Then all of our lagers. I'm really big into lagers now, our light lagers and amber lagers and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like that. One of my favorite is the Pilsner that you guys have.
Yeah, this beer's great.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So, like growing up, were you around like any entrepreneurs, or like where did that kind of mindset come from? Because I don't think everybody has that.
No, not necessarily. I mean, my dad was in the military and was a welder. My mom went to college and was a school teacher. But they were always driven, you know, and taught you how to manage money and things like that.
Yep.
No, I just kind of fell into it, I guess.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest challenges as to being an entrepreneur that you've had to face?
A lot. A lot.
It's like every day.
Yeah. I mean, little thing. I mean, I learn every day. You know, I mean, I really do. And I think one of my biggest problems that I had early on was having such a closed mindset or tunnel vision, I guess you could say. Not taking advice from the outside and, you know, thinking that I always knew best, because I ended up failing on multiple things because of that. And then once I realized, oh, this guy probably knows more than I do about this. Why don't I listen to what he has to say? Or this guy knows more about this. So that's probably one of my biggest.
That's hard to do sometimes too. And even though like you may have it kind of figured out right now, like you get to the next phase or whatever, and you're like, you know, it's still like a constant learning process.
And taxes, you know, not knowing the whole game of taxes was one of my biggest things too. Overpaying, you know, not writing things off when I should have, and you know, stuff like that, which I'm pretty on top of now.
Yeah. And it's, I think it's just like that process of being an entrepreneur, right? Like starting out, like not having a background in it or anything like that, or not growing up in a household of entrepreneurship. You just have to go through and figure all that out yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, like I said, I kind of grew up with, you know, some of my family members. We kind of did it together. You know, my brother, he went to medical school and then realized that he didn't necessarily want to do that. And he opened up a Verizon store up in Portage, Wisconsin.
Okay.
You know, my mom and I pretty much started doing the real estate thing at the same exact time, which, you know, they had more money than I did, so they obviously made money faster than me. But, you know, we all kind of fell into it right around the same time, I feel like.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it is fun to like have the family involved, and, you know, you're kind of sharing insights and like, oh, I learned this, I didn't learn that, or, you know, I failed at this, that sort of thing. Yeah, very cool. So what do you like? I'll share like my perspective on Divine, but I want to hear like what you think. You know, like I said before, like each brewery is different. You know, one of the things I like about Divine, like when I first started going to breweries, they were, you know, we had some friends that lived up in North Carolina and up in the mountains in like Asheville area, and so like it was just like basic like warehouse, you know, stripped down. You know, they built a bar in this warehouse, concrete floors or whatever. And, you know, they're brewing beer in the back and that sort of stuff. So very simple, but just good beer, just good conversations, good people, that sort of stuff. So that's what I like about your place too, because it reminds me of that, where it's like, you know, you have the concrete floors and concrete bar and all that kind of stuff. And then obviously you can see into the, you know, to the back room where you guys are making beer and that sort of stuff. But what do you, and obviously the good beer, right? Like you got to make good beer or people aren't coming back. But from your perspective, like, what do you think separates you from other brewers in the area?
I would say our team. You know, I mean, the people that actually work there on a day-to-day basis and deal with the regulars, deal with the customers, and you know, the people on the front lines. Really,
Mm-hmm.
we we have a different atmosphere and environment than a lot of breweries do. Like, you know, they're not allowed to drink when they're working behind the bar or in the back brewing. To
Mm-hmm.
where you go, a lot of breweries, the bartender's having a beer with you, which is to each their own. I don't mind it, you know.
Right.
But we have a little higher standards, and our atmosphere is a little bit different than a lot of people's.
Yeah.
Run a tight ship. I'm not saying other breweries don't run a tight ship, but you know, cleanliness, consistency is my biggest thing. So, you know, be clean, be consistent at what you do, be knowledgeable,
Mm-hmm.
and don't get drunk behind the bar.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big one.
Yeah, that could lead to some troubling
Well,
situations.
you got money, you know what I mean, that
Yeah.
you're dealing with constantly. And if you're dealing with other drunk humans, who knows what happens. And, you know,
Sure.
so they can get out of hand fast. And then just the vibe, like I said, like the team that's there. And then we have the music, we have the comedy, and
Yeah.
we keep that on the regular and stuff. So people know what to expect out of us. So I think we've kind of,
Yeah, that's cool too. So you guys do like comedy night?
Yeah.
Is that every Wednesday?
yeah, every Wednesday and then the second Saturday of every month. And
Okay.
I mean, it's legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. You can't just walk in off the street and say, "Hey, I want to get up on stage."
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
You have to sign up through Matt Fernandez, who's one of the big up and coming comics in Florida, and
Okay.
he kind of picks and chooses who's allowed to go on and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it is cool.
That's cool. Where did that idea come from?
I honestly don't know because I mean we've had comedy almost since we opened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and before there was a guy named JB Ball that was running it, and he moved on to LA, and he's writing for MTV and Comedy Central. Like he's making it out there, but originally he was doing it,
Okay.
and I don't know. I'll be honest with you how
Yeah.
we got connected or whatever. And then he left, and Matt took over, and you know Matt's been doing a great job with it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's fun. You wouldn't think.
Right. Like
You know
at a
what I mean?
brewery.
Yeah, at a brewery comedy, but now it's a big thing. A lot of people are doing it, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun. I think the entertainment piece is, you know, I think for our area, it's becoming more and more of a thing, right? Because you have to just find another way to keep people there,
Mhm.
right? Maybe that's a big piece of that.
Yeah, and I noticed we're not Dunedin when it comes to music. You know, Dunedin, this music scene is huge. You know, you go to the breweries down there, and you know some of the clubs down there, and their live music is just
Yeah.
wild. It's
Yeah, yeah.
packed. You know,
Yeah.
Palm Harbor's a little bit of a different crowd when it comes to the music, so that's why we kind of toned back on the music a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
done a little bit more comedy because that seems what Palm Harbor people
So the comedy nights are like are busier than the music nights?
and it's cheaper for me.
Oh, yeah.
Music is so expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so expensive, you know. To where comedy, you know, these guys, you know, they still have full-time jobs. They're just doing this on the side to try and make it, or you know, whatever the case is. So they don't
Oh,
demand
yeah.
as much money as a musician who that's what they do.
Right,
that's,
right.
that's how they make their living. You
Yeah.
know? But yeah, so we do better, you know, money-wise on
Nice.
those nights. Yeah.
Comedy. Who would have thought, you know?
I mean, I like to laugh, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
of
I think it's
course.
great.
Yeah. So are you there like every time there's a comic there, or you try
No,
to be? Yeah.
I try to be.
Yeah.
The nights that I don't have my daughter, you know, when I can get away, I do go up there.
Yeah.
But the most like this Saturday show that's coming up this month, it's gonna be awesome. John Jacobs is doing it. He's actually moving, I think, to Europe or something. But he's been on MTV and done a bunch of stuff. So he's doing like
Okay.
his farewell show this month at Divine. So it's gonna be. I will definitely be there for that one.
Okay.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
That's the end of this month?
It'll be the second Saturday, so next weekend, not
Okay.
this weekend, but next weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So what about your future plans for Divine? Do you ever want to open up a second location?
Oh man, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in talks right now with a buddy of mine who he's in the restaurant business. He owns a successful restaurant and bar, and he wants to kind of do like a restaurant concept, but put the brewery in.
Oh, cool.
So we're working on that, and I've wanted to buy some other spots because in the state of Florida, you can open up 6 more breweries under your one license. You don't have to
Okay.
keep on applying for different licenses, which is a lot
And
saves a lot of money. And
I was gonna
time.
say, yeah, money wise, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My wife's not a big fan.
Of the brewery?
No, of opening more.
Oh, yeah.
You
yeah.
know, because this one is, you know, going on 7 years. We have a great team. A lot of things run themselves, but man, it's still a very stressful full-time job.
Yeah.
Dealing with it. So if I open up another one,
How do you split your time?
how do you split your time? You know.
Yeah. So you're spending about 40 hours there, or roughly at Divine.
I would
right
say
now?
my wife does. I'm probably more of the 30, 35 hours a week there.
Okay.
Zach, who's my head brewer operations manager, he's there, 45 hours a week. And he pretty much runs the back of house, all the scheduling for brewing, ingredients, inventory, distribution. Zach handles. I don't have to do any of that anymore. And then my wife does all the tap room and scheduling and office work. So I kind of go there and meet with everybody and make sure everybody's got what they need to do their job. Taste some beer, and then I'm not a big micromanager. I hire people that I think are capable of doing the job, and I just let them do their job.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What was I just going to ask you? It was, oh yeah, like the process of like, is it hard? What about distribution? That's what I was going to ask you about. Like, because not a lot of breweries are doing that.
Yeah.
Is that something you always wanted to get into, or?
Yeah. So like when Joey Redner sold Cigar City, he was in such big distribution.
Yeah. It's in like every
that's how you
Publix
get.
and all.
Oh, he was crazy. I mean, that dude, he blew craft beer out of the water in Florida. But you got to get your case numbers up. You have to get your barrelage up if you want to, sell it eventually, make money and all that kind of stuff. So I planned for distribution.
Okay.
That was like my main focus. I hired a guy that was a head of a distribution company in Central Florida. I hired him onto the Devine team to, get the distribution going for stuff like that. But it is so cutthroat. The distribution. Yeah. I mean, you have these bigger breweries that pay the distributor, incentives to sell their beer. So a guy like me, I get pushed to the back burner all the time. So it's a constant fight. It's a constant, you're fighting for tap handles. You're fighting for shelf space. It's a pain, and you don't make a lot of money.
Right.
You don't make any money in distribution really. All your money's in the tap room.
Okay. But you make money in distribution, like when it comes to like volume wise, like if you're able to get it out there to a larger population, right?
Yeah, kegs you make some money on when they're going into restaurants and bars and stuff like that. But when you're doing packaging, I don't have my own canning line, so I still have an outside company come in and bring their canner and can it for me, which pretty much takes up all my profits in canning.
Okay.
So when Lucan's, ABC's, Total Wines, all those kind of places that we have, it's more of a marketing than anything because I don't make any money on those cans.
Okay.
But buying a canning line is going to cost me like $210,000.
Yeah.
And in order to push that much, liquid and cans, like you have to then sales rep for $55,000 a year. You have to do that. You know what I mean? It's just like so much more, so much
a whole
more.
Nother commitment.
Yeah. So I'm kind of seeing, we're waiting for COVID to kind of see how the market happens and, where to go from there. So it's kind of what we're doing.
It's interesting. I think like your path into, owning a brewery is probably different than most of like, I started in my garage, I brewed beer, everyone liked it. And now I opened up a commercial brewery, right?
Yeah.
You just like the entrepreneur, piece of it. You're like, let's open a brewery, make some money.
That's exactly what it was. You know, I mean, I like I said, I hired the team that I thought I needed to make it, successful. I was going to buy the property, do the renovations, and let these guys run it. And that wasn't the case. I ended up, letting everybody go over the years and ended up doing it myself. But yeah, it definitely wasn't, the craft beer story everybody loves to hear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure. But, I saw it as a moneymaker and I ran with it.
Yeah. But I think that's part of it though, right? Like you stuck with it, you learned from your mistakes and then persevered and pushed through to make it what it is today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure. And I've changed my game plan multiple times with Devine.
Yeah.
It's like, this year, this is working. Following year, that's not working anymore. You know what I mean? So you definitely have to be able to swallow your pride, admit what was working is no longer working, and change it and figure it out. For sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a big part of being successful, I think. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So cool. So you grew up in Florida, as we were talking about before. How long have you been like in the Palm Harbor, Dunedin area?
I was born in Eastern Kentucky and moved to Ocala when I was young.
Okay.
And then my parents divorced when I was 10. And my mom moved to Clearwater.
Okay.
So that's when I came down here. And I was here for a couple years. I ended up going to military school in Gainesville, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
For the end of middle school and high school. And finished out in Ocala and down here and just kind of stayed with down here.
Mm-hmm. Do you like it here? Do you see yourself like moving elsewhere? Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see myself moving elsewhere. We're looking for property right now in like, Eastern Tennessee and stuff like that. Because I want to buy the dirt now and eventually build on and retire. But it's getting too crowded down here.
Yeah.
It's just. It's wild.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard, right? And my wife and I have those same conversations where it's like, it's cool because there's so much to do.
Yeah.
The different breweries and, the downtown areas and that sort of stuff, the beaches, obviously, and the water and the parks. But it is nice to have space and land and, all that kind of stuff.
That's
too.
more my pace of life.
Yeah.
Having, several acres, and a nice little house on it, and, have land produce, do whatever you want. That's kind of what I want. But I can't do anything for the next 10 years at least until my daughter's, grown up and moved out,
Right.
So,
that's a big piece of it too.
Yeah.
So what do you, when you're not at the brewery, what do you like doing?
I golf a lot. I fish a lot. I like cooking and stuff like that. But mostly golf, fishing.
Nice.
I do a lot of that. Pickleball. I started getting into pickleball, which is really fun.
Where do you play pickleball at?
Dunedin Community Center.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. Yeah, I have a pretty boring life.
I like it.
I don't do too much.
I think a lot of people would say golfing and fishing is not boring.
No, it's not. But I mean, it's just something I can go out and do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Relax, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah. What kind of fishing do you like to do?
I like bass fishing the most.
Oh, really?
I do. I grew up on bass fishing, so I do like bass fishing the most.
Okay.
But I love freshwater. I mean, saltwater.
Yeah.
And shore fishing.
Inshore, yeah.
Yeah, I like, snook and reds and stuff like that. But I like going to these random ponds.
Yeah.
That are close to the intercoastal, that are landlocked. There's huge snook and tarpon and all these, and all you gotta do is just drive your truck up to it, throw it in there, and you catch these monster fish that people have no clue that they're there.
And it's probably a lot easier to catch them there than it is out in the intercoastal.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So it's fun. Me and my daughter can do that. We'll jump in the truck and just go fish random ponds and stuff like that.
I used to rent a condo in East Lake Woodlands, and same thing. I would go in there and just walk around and fish those ponds.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I got a pond in my backyard, which is great with nice bass in it too.
Oh, nice.
So I can just walk right out my back porch.
Isn't that great?
Oh, it's great. I love it. It's Florida, man. There's fish everywhere.
Hell yeah,
I love it.
That's awesome, Ben. Well, I appreciate you joining the podcast today. If anybody doesn't know where Divine Brewery is at, where can they find you?
993 Florida Avenue, right in the heart of downtown, right where they're building the roundabout.
Yeah. Drive down Alta 19, you will see it.
Yeah, right in downtown.
There you go. Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah, man, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you again for listening to another episode of Palm Harbor Local. I really hope you got a ton of value out of today's episode. Now, if you're looking to connect with the guest or just get more information on the episode, then you can check the description below. I'll have all the links in the episode as well as a link back to my website. It's palmharborlocal.com, where you can stay up to date on what's going on with the podcast and sign up there to join the locals. Let's get after it this week. And remember, together, we keep Palm Harbor local.